Hi, this is Dan Collins coming to you live from Traders Expo New York, and joining me is Bob Savage from Track Research. Track Research is a global macro research firm, which can be confused some people. Kind of tell us about what the global macro approach is about.
Sure. 20 years ago we all would just say, oh, that's George Soros, that's Stan Druckenmiller, and Paul Tudor Jones. Today, it's a bunch of computers first. And then, people look at you kind of funny and think, well, how do you make any money out of that, and who's paying for it? And we live in a world where there's different regulations. MiFID II has made research a lot more complicated for a lot of these guys to pay the checks. But I have a simple mission. I want to take institutional grade ideas that I used to peddle when I was at Goldman and really deliver them in a democratic way to anybody that wants to see and read it. So that's what Track Research does. I look at the world through an FX lens. And I've been doing this now for 30 some odd years. It started out as my trader's book. Before I put on any trade, I would write down all the fundamental things that made me think about it. So that's the genesis of where this comes from.
And that sounds important because we're speaking to others here. Forex is the most important sector in the fact that everyone's trading in a currency. So regardless of what you're trading, you really should have an idea of what the Forex markets are doing.
It's interesting you say that. For a lot of people, it's the tail that wags the dog. Most institutional asset managers that are trading a lot of foreign exchange look at it as a tax, a nuisance. Yeah, I'm buying this euro stock and then I have to translate it into euros. And isn't it a surprise that the euro always is moving, and I don't know exactly. But the point of it is that the currency market, in my mind, is a shock absorber. It allows countries to adjust when there's an outside shock. Oil falls from 100 to 50 to 20 some odd dollars. Who's hurt? Russia. What did they do? They had a currency move that allowed flexibility. So yeah, sure, the country suffered, but it forced an inward-looking dependence as opposed to getting a bailout from others.
And I understand that there's always things going on in the world, but it seems to be that right now is a particularly important time where a lot of major global macro drivers are happening. You have Brexit, you have the U.S.-China trade negotiations, you have Iran and whether they're going to produce oil. Is this maybe a golden period for what you're doing?
Well, I would always think, I've been waiting for 10 years for the resurgence of currencies. We had a Greek crisis. I thought the euro had a risk of, kind of fraying at the edges. It didn't. Mr. Draghi did whatever was necessary. I do think that we're getting close to a period of time where currencies, they've been quiet for extended periods of time, excluding the British pound because of Brexit. I think we could see big moves in my predictions for the quarter, maybe the year ahead. If the euro continues on its path towards 105, watch Mr. Trump's tweets. They're going to get increasingly upset about dollar strength. And it wouldn't be a surprise to me if the U.S. actually intervenes.
And that's a new fundamental factor in the markets where instead of you have a president that on a regular basis throws bombs into the market.
A little gasoline never hurts any fire. It makes it a little bit more exciting. And his role in promoting volatility inherent in a lot of markets, it shows up in foreign exchange as much as it does in equities as in bonds. So we're not, the foreign exchange market absolutely is in the front lines of that.
Okay, well, we're going to take a little break here, but we'll be back with more with Bob Savage from Traders Expo New York.